The federal government admits the economy is ailing. The presidency, however, insists that the recession will be short-lived as the nation's economic outlook remains bright. We examine the explanations being offered by the federal government and analyze the way out of economic recession. Many thanks for joining in, everyone, and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Imana Amawe. Well, it's official. Nigeria is in recession. Nigeria has moved from being in technical recession to being in recession proper. But the federal government says it's only for a short time. It's a temporary thing, as it's doing everything possible to ensure that the country actually comes out of these tough times. Well, stay with us. We'll go deeper into that issue. But first, let's bring you some of the top political stories we'll be following.
Political roundup on Channels Television. Here are your top political stories this time.
It is indeed tough times for state governments with the current economic crunch in the country, but workers in Kwara State are not taking the situation lying low. The National Union of Local Government Employees in the state has accused the state government of withholding nearly 4 billion naira released by the federal government for the settlement of its salary arrears.
I'm not aware of any such window. And if we're aware, when the budget support scheme was announced, the Federal Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, did clearly state that it was to support the capacity of states to implement their budgets, because the federal government recognized the hardship and difficulties states are facing and decided to come to their aid.
The state government has, however, dismissed the accusation, explaining that rather it's been augmenting the local government workers' salary due to the shortfall from the federal allocation. While calling for understanding from the workers, the State Commissioner for Finance, Demola Banu, explained that a little above 1 billion naira was allocated to the 16 local government areas in the state for the month of August, and 75% of the money was given to settle the salary of the primary and junior secondary school teachers.
Federal government created a window for local government that are having problems with payment of arrears of salaries. And we have seen about 7 states.
The issue of funding for constituency projects is still generating controversy, with the recent calls to scrap the program over alleged diversion of funds by the legislature. Adding its voice to the campaign is a civil society coalition, Say No to Corruption. They're asking the federal government to audit the constituency project process since 2004. The group took to the streets of the federal capital territory, Abuja, to drive home their grievances, calling for an overhaul of the nation's budgeting system. The co-convener of the group, Mr. Jaye Gaskia, says 1 trillion naira has been spent on constituency projects since 1999 with little result.
We should recover looted funds, and those who are indicted should be tried, they should be prosecuted, and they should be jailed. The second one is that we need a complete overhaul of the budgetary process in Nigeria so that it will not allow room for pardon.
And in a bid to strengthen ties with neighboring countries, the newly appointed clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Muhammad Omolori, says he will ensure a smoother relationship between regional body Ecowas and the National Assembly. While receiving the General Secretary of the Ecowas Parliament, Dr. Nelson Magbogola, who led the delegation to visit him, he said the National Assembly would make itself available in every respect to assist on issues on moving the region forward at a time when expectations from both national and regional parliaments are high.
The ECOWAS Parliament is obviously we need to collaborate with them, and the essence of this visit was to re-establish that idea in the minds of all of us.
And you're up to date. Those are your top political stories you need to know.
Well, many thanks for staying with us. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has commended Nigeria's august visitor, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO and founder of Facebook. President Buhari says Mark Zuckerberg has shown that has tried as much as possible to inspire youth and the new generation of entrepreneurs with his wealth of knowledge. This was during a reception for the internet entrepreneur at the State House in Abuja. On his part, Mark Zuckerberg says he's impressed with the drive, interest, and entrepreneurial spirits displayed by Nigerian youths. And human rights activists in Nigeria are calling for the federal government to scrap the payment of security votes to state governments. They say there's no provision for that project in the nation's budget, and it amounts to corruption.
The president, the governor, they are not entitled to a security vote. If you see any security vote in all the budgets, it is unappropriated. So I'm challenging the president. If you want to convince Nigerian people that is fighting corruption, you should stop taking fault with security votes. Security votes. Security votes is unappropriated at any level. They are using this as a means of looting the treasury.
Well, that call came during a rally to immortalize and honor the late human rights lawyer and activist, Chief Gani Fawemi. They say security votes. There's no place for security votes in the nation's budget. Well, moving on now, the people of Edo State are preparing to elect new officials into preparing to elect the new man to sit on the #1 seat in the state. And Channels Television is going to be having a debate which is going to take place on the 4th of September. We'll be covering that event live and it's in partnership with Enough is Enough. Well, ahead of the elections come September the 10th, INEC and the Nigerian police say there's adequate logistics and security arrangements in place for the exercise. The police say over 20,000 personnel will be deployed for the election, while INEC has released figures for qualified voters, and that's about 135,877. Those are the ones who were registered in the recent continuous voter registration exercise. So all in all, about 1.9 million voters are expected at the poll, and Channels Television will definitely bring you a robust conversation around that election. We're going to bring together some of the top contenders in a debate on the 4th of September, and the program's time is 7 p.m. and it's slated to hold right in the heart of Benin City, the Edo State capital. And you can follow us as we launch out on our social media portals. You'll be able to watch live as well on your mobile phones and on Facebook. The hashtag to follow is Edo Decides. Well, now to our main issue of the day. The federal government has admitted that the economy is ailing. The presidency, however, insists that the recession will be short-lived as the nation's economic outlook remains bright. A lot of Nigerians are actually concerned that what's going to happen while we wait for these policies that the President Buhari government has put in play. What's going to happen before these policies actually kick into place and yield results for Nigerians? Well, President Buhari was in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, yesterday and on a working visit. And he assured Nigerians that the government is not ignorant of the challenges that the country is being faced with at this time. And it's doing all it can to ensure that the effects of the recession are minimal on the citizens. But the People's Democratic Party has actually called for the resignation of the president. They say the president made poor economic policies, and that's the reason why Nigeria is at the place where it's at now. Well, we'll take a moment after now, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.